Man, I didn't know I was going to have to follow the amazing Strolling Strings. That's a high bar. I'll immediately lower it a little bit. I like to preface Harvard Business School, letting everybody know that my first test in college, I scored a 37. So just adjust your expectations for the speech accordingly. I'd like to get an idea of who I'm talking to. Where's the Army at? Big win. I was pulling for you guys. All right, Air Force. And in the Navy? All right, I'll try to use small words. Let's get another kid. Hey, come on, infantry guys, we learn through pictures and pop-up books. All right, so I was asked to come in and talk to all of you about what I've learned in my experience. I went to Lawton High School, middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, right outside of Fort Sill, and I had no idea, like many of you, what I wanted to do with my life. In fact, I still don't. Knew that I wanted to go to a good university, knew that I was going to be successful, just didn't know to what area, to what end my passion would be directed. And in fact, as I was going through, some of the more privileged kids from town, I was telling them about colleges I was applying to, West Point, Vanderbilt, Harvard, and one of them said, "Oh, you might get into West Point or Vanderbilt, but you're not smart enough for Harvard." I was like, "Okay, I got you." So I remembered that, and so I got into Vanderbilt. Still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Finished the first year, and was talking to my dad about whether or not I wanted to stay at ROTC. And what came out of it, decided, yes, I was going to stay at ROTC. You might know that was 2001, so 9/11 happened shortly afterwards. And immediately when 9/11 happened, not only did I know that I wanted to do ROTC, I knew that I wanted to be an airborne ranger, and I knew that if young men and women were going to go into combat, I wanted to lead them because I've been privileged with an education. So from that moment, forget the 37, I hit the books hard because I knew that infantry is the highest bar. And I knew that I had, yeah, that's right. Okay, we got some infantry guys out there, good stuff. Good stuff. Just remember that when you're digging trenches. So knew that I had to be in the top 10% of my graduating class of branch infantry. We're smarter than we look. So studied hard, got infantry, ended up assigned to IBC down in Benning, did the airborne ranger thing, got through that, and ultimately was selected to be the recon platoon leader, leading guys in Iraq. So I just want to come back to the education I received at Vanderbilt, and my focus enabled me to get to that position. But what I'm always be grateful to my dad and my grandfather for is teaching me to listen to other people and to learn from other people around me. So that firefight that was referenced in my bio happened about a month after we got into country. And because I'd spent late nights talking to my NCOs and the other guys who were around me, I learned different things about how the enemy targeted us. I knew that they liked to fire the maximum range of their mortar systems. And I knew that generally they like to have a landmark to the base. So in October, about a month after I was there, my platoon ended up being the only platoon, 24 of us, in a city of 2 million Iraqis. The Combat Support Hospital came under attack. About 200 insurgents stormed different bases around the city. 24 guys, it was me. But because I listened to the NCOs in my platoon, because I had the tactical training and I burned the midnight oil at Vanderbilt, preparing myself for combat, I made the most educated and best guess of my life. And I will tell you that my scouts and snipers rolled up on 40 Al-Qaeda affiliated insurgents when they had fired less than a third of their rounds. We fought through the next hour by ourselves, and we ended up saving over 20 American lives at the hospital that we were protecting and that they were shelling. So I just want to come back to that one moment in my life is the proudest moment of my life. There was a Silver Star, a nomination from that, 3 Bronze Stars with Valor, 12 RCOMs with V devices that came out of that firefight. And in that moment, when I knew that everything was on my shoulders and that I had to make the right call to lead my guys, I was incredibly grateful for the time that I had taken to learn the time that I had taken to listen to my NCOs, because if I hadn't stayed up, I'd have had no idea how the enemy operated. And it ended up saving people's lives. And so, as I look out at you, and you're where I was 12 years ago, many of you, if you decide to stay in the military, might find yourselves in that same position. And so I challenge you to develop those core individual competencies, to always be humble enough to learn from those around you, and never think that you're better than your subordinates. And you will be able to accomplish whatever you want in life. And so, after that tour was over, we ended up finishing it, working the last 3 months with the British SAS, targeting high-value insurgent networks. My battalion commander, when I told him I was leaving the military because I felt like I could make an impact in the civilian world, said, "I am not writing you a letter of recommendation unless you apply to Harvard Business School." So it was a far cry from what Lane Neal told me at Lawton High School. I actually responded to my battalion commander. I said, "Hey, sir," I was like, "I command a bunch of wild men." I was like, "I haven't used a 3-syllable word in the last month." No, literally, on the spectrum of caveman to intellectual, I am hard towards caveman. But he pushed me, and he made me do it, and it ended up changing my life. So I went to Harvard Business. I met Matt Thompson here, also a Ranger, veteran of 4 deployments. And together we were able to start a company using the same things that we had learned through ROTC and through our military career that has raised about $4 million and has the potential to connect businesses and job opportunities to veterans. So it's an incredibly powerful position to be in. I'll leave you with the challenge. Take risks. Never settle. Always follow your passion. And make mistakes, because it's the best way to learn. Thanks.